One. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Java, how to program in Java. And throughout the series, I'm going to go over how to actually program in Java. So, the first things first is that, if this tutorial is not good enough for you, there's another tutorial on YouTube from someone named Caleb Curry, CalebCurry, and they have a really good Java tutorial. But in this series, we're going to cover certain things that aren't covered in that series, and certain things are going to be covered in that series, so we won't cover. But basically, you're going to get the utmost basics of programming in Java. So I'm using Eclipse IDE. You can use whatever program you want to do to program with. So I'm going to just create a package project name, and I'm just going to call it My Chinese Program, because why the heck not? And I'm going to say that I don't want to create a module file. There's various reasons behind that. It just makes things easier not to have that module thing. At least for me, that's what I like to do. Um, so I'm creating the package. I've created the package now. Now I need to create something that's called a class file. So let's go over that. So basically, you know how Windows is. You have an exe file and you run it into your program. That's basically what a class file is. You can think of it as a exe file, but not necessarily. We're not to that point where it's like its own executable, but a class file is like that. So, um, so now we gotta name our class, and you can name it whatever you want. Obviously, there's certain characters. I don't think you can have slash. You can't have dot or slash or anything like that, or quotation marks. So, but you can have any word. So I'm just gonna call it init. I like to say that, and it's a good general term to when you make a Java class to give it a good name. And by the way, you can't reuse the name at all. But give it a good name, something that you can look at and say, hey, okay, well, this is where that is, and that's, you know. So don't name things like cheeseburger unless it's something for a cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? Or else you're gonna get really confused. Um, so what are we looking at here? We're going to basic overview of Java. What are we looking at here? So this might be very confusing. This is where a lot of people get confused when they actually get to look at the code. But what we're looking at right here is really simple. All this is just defining that our class file exists. So right here, if I change this to, this init to a bunch of random stuff, we're going to get error, and it's going to say it's not the same name as our class file right here. So general rule of thumb, you must always have your class file defined right here the same as the name of the file. So it's not even a big deal. You can rename it this file if you want, but that's just one thing to go over. So another thing, so what are we looking at right here with these brackets? What do those brackets mean? Well, you can think of those brackets, and let's say it in an English term and not like zeros and ones here. Think of brackets as a scope. Think of it as, I can see something. Um, think of whatever is within this opening bracket and whatever is within this closing bracket it can be seen by this object, which is a class. And inside classes, we have to create things called voids, which are actually our programs. But there's other things you can do. There's something called a variable. So what's a variable? Well, I'm gonna give you you're not gonna understand what it is, but I'm gonna basically show you what a variable is. So static int. Um, I'll just put number. equals 20. So what is this? This is a variable. This is the most basic type of thing you can put in. This is just a simple number and it's 20. So let's just break this down. We'll explain what static int and all that means, but the basic thing is you have a type, which is defined right here, and you have the name, and then you have the value, and this is the value right here. And then every type or code piece always ends with a semicolon right here. And another thing I'm going to just throw in is something called commenting. When you're making code, you're probably going to want to comment. You could say this thing or whatever. You can put whatever you want, and this won't be compiled when you run the program. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, I always open programs like this. Boom. Okay, so this string right here, what I just wrote, this is not going to be read when we run the program. It's just it's for us to read while we're programming. So I'm just wanted to show you that's a thing. But like I was saying, this is a type, and we defined it in init. So the number here, the type here, a number, it can be seen within init. And when we do this, this is actually going to be able to be seen in any void. And I know you don't understand what it is. You're going to get to it very quickly, but you're going to be able to see that, oh, this number is going to be accessible to our entire program here. So, but we're going to get over into that. So we've been explaining a couple things that we probably don't understand yet. When do we get into actually doing something? Well, we're about to do something right now. So every single Java program has to open with a main void. And the way you do it, it's really easy. So all you don't have to know what it does. We'll get into it. So just put public static void main string args. Now, you don't know you probably don't understand what any of this is. That's okay. Just know that these are simple parameters that we're going to need for our entire program, especially when we're making console programs. Is there going to be parameters that we're going to need? So it's just basic. You don't even have to know what it does. This just basically opens our program. And once you type this in, you've pretty much officially made your first Java program. That's pretty much it. You can go ahead and not even care about that right now. This is all we need right here. So we want to actually do something with our program. So the simplest thing is to do text output, and we're going to do hello world. And what do we have here? So we have system.out.println. You don't even have to know what it means. Just know that this is going to put text. So what do we have here? Once I run this, what are we going to get? We're going to get hello world. So another thing, remember I was talking about scope. These brackets, think of them as like a scope, what you can see. This init can see this main, this void main. This void main can see this system out print hello world. So I'm going to give you an example of scope here. So I'm going to write, just, you don't have to write it down, but I'm just going to give you an idea. I'm going to just, like, if you put, just think of a separate void, right? Just a static void. You don't even have to know what it is. I'm just trying to give you an idea what I mean about scope. So I'm gonna put system out right here, E, and we're not gonna use this. So just look carefully. So you see where this bracket opens. You see where this bracket closes. Now, because void main is within the class init, and because the void test is within class init, you can actually call test within void main. And I know you don't know what it means, but you'll understand later. But you're going to find out when I run this, the actual contents of tests we can't run within main. And I'll show you how to do all this stuff later, but I'm just trying to give you the idea. The large part of people having problems is because of the brackets here. And that's the problem I had. So all you really need to do is think of this as a box or a scope, and whatever's within these two brackets can be seen by this object here. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. And in the next video, we're going to be going over more things you can do with text output. And, just be patient throughout the series, and you'll begin to learn stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.